Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Cherries Podcast, your space for curated conversations with creative minds, community builders, and women who are absolutely shaking things up. I'm Inji.
And I'm Ghalia, and we are the founders of the Curated Playlist, where we blend fashion, retail, and community through pop ups and culture driven events across the region. And today, we're so excited to have a true force in fashion and female entrepreneurship in the region joining us.
She's the founder of Wear That, the personalized styling service that's really changing how women shop and feel secure in their own skin. So, Heidi, you've really taken personal shopping and made it scalable and started it here in the region. So, we're so happy to have you with us. And please help us by welcoming Heidi.
Hi.
Nice to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. It's been a while that we've been wanting this conversation to happen. And I know it's a very busy period. It's what we call in the industry Q4, or the busiest 3 months of the year. So how's it been going for you?
Yeah, it's been busy. We're planning the year ahead. So we're starting 2026, but also executing and delivering on Q4. So everything is firing at once. It's never, ever ending.
Are you getting any sleep? Is the team getting any sleep?
I mean, are you guys getting some sleep? Maybe a little bit more than me.
Okay.
So, where that has become such a household name, like, how did you guys start this journey? How did you decide to enter the entrepreneurship world? What was that spark moment for you?
So where that really started from a small frustration of mine, which was I was working at the time in luxury fashion and I loved it and I loved the glamour of it and I loved just everything about it. But my prior life to luxury was mass market and I used to work for big player retailers and I just used to create all these like collections that I could just reach hundreds of thousands of women. So when I moved to luxury fashion, I was like, this is wonderful, but I'm missing the rush of having so much impact with more women. And at the time I was working for a Shell Hoop Group and I said, hey, have an idea. I would like to take the best parts of luxury and make a really scalable model by creating a luxury service for everyday girls, which was Wear That, and how everyday women could get a stylist. So that was kind of how it started. And we've just been going ever since.
Amazing. That's so exciting. And what were the early days like for you, like navigating such a saturated place?
So the early days for me were in my apartment. So I started it in my apartment. I didn't have we're a box business. So we send out a pink box. I didn't have a box. I didn't have a website. I didn't have anything actually. And I just started with a solution for women and providing women just a really convenient way to shop. And I did it kind of on the fly without any bells and whistles. I cringe, and you should cringe. But those were really the early days and we adapted from there. And I never looked at the market as saturated. Still don't look at the market as saturated. I never look at competitors. I look at the evolution of my customer and how she's evolving, how she's shopping, what she's thinking, how she changed from when I started to now. And then how does the business have to change with her? And I kind of block out the noise. I think I can do that really, really well, but I'm not too fussed about the others.
It's really interesting you said that because we operate in that way as Curated Playlists, to be honest. Like we always say, eye on the prize, and the prize is just your own path. If you focus on competition, Dubai is such a vibrant market. If you focus on competition, you only have one energy like bucket. And if you put it on that, you won't really focus on what you're doing. And like you said, your customer itself, how do they shop? How do they approach different retail verticals? So it's so interesting you said that because literally before any pop-up or any venture we take with Curated, we're like, eye on the prize, our ears, hearts, everything is with the customer. What did they tell us? What do they want out of us? And that completely gets you to where you want to be. So
Totally.
honestly, we're speaking the same language.
Yeah.
100%. And also, like, on what Inji said, for example, a lot of people come tell us, like, oh, this person is doing that and
Yeah.
this pop-up is doing this. For us, it's all noise. So we can totally relate. We just never look at others. And again, eye on the prize. That's our main focus. And it will always be the
Totally.
eyes on the
It's just
prize.
a distraction. Everything is a distraction.
Exactly. Okay, so since we're all here in the Middle East, this has to be a part of this conversation. Obviously, for anyone, whether they're Arab or they're not from the region, they always tell you this is a very difficult market to start in. And when you enter whether it's saturated space or not, whether it's competition, where it's how's the customer doing, whether some people claiming that logistically here it's very difficult, it's hard to seep through all of that. But you really found your place in that, which you brought up Shalhoub as well, and we want to touch on that a bit. But how did that help you, the incubation from Shalhoub? Plus, how did you really find your mark in a market like this? And do you agree that it's a difficult market or not?
Anyone who comes into the Wear That business will see that I've made the most complicated business model. It is so complex on the inside. So for a customer, it's incredibly easy because you go online, we get your information, we get you a stylist, and then we give you clothes that technically should match your vibe. Exactly. Yeah. On the inside, to do that at scale is incredibly difficult. And I always said that if someone wanted to do it and someone wanted to come and copy, I mean, please, with pleasure, because it is so complex to do the model that we're doing, not only from a data and tech perspective, not only from a perfect match, not only from a consumer and understanding their needs, but from an operational and logistics perspective, the try before you buy, the returns process, the quality assurance, it's enormous. And so when I say about the model, not only have we made it easier for the consumer, but we've also created something that is quite difficult to replicate easily. It's taken us 7 years. We're obviously always still adapting, but the model itself is complex, and it should be to make it easier for the consumer.
Right. And did you find that running that model was easier for you here in the Middle East? Because look, like, to be in all transparency with you, when people watch this podcast, it's so impressive to see someone like you speaking and starting a business like that. But if someone has a similar idea, what kind of, let's say, tips and tricks would you give for a market that people consider difficult here? And did you find it difficult with or without the Shalhoub incubation? Like, how does that add to it?
Define difficult. It's all difficult.
Right.
Running a business is difficult. Yeah. Getting up every day when you've been slapped down the day before is difficult. It's just hard. And I think that we have to be very honest about that. It's your willingness, it's your mindset, it's your character that will make it easy. Because any business, your business, my business, anyone's business, they will have equal challenges that are relevant to them. So it's define difficult, and how much are you willing to go through to overcome the challenges? And, you know, with anything, there's challenges. There's consumer challenges, there is logistical challenges, there is operational challenges, but how adaptable have you made your model to be able to overcome them? Right. To this day, I will face a challenge every single day, but the business is so agile in how it responds to problems, to solutions, that if something really big happens, we pivot, and we can pivot in a day, in half a day, in a matter of hours. It's not even a matter of, it's not going to fall down. Yeah. And that's how we've been able to build the model. Yeah. And I would say that anyone starting a business there's going to be challenges. This is the nature of the beast.
You can't escape it.
This is the fun of entrepreneurship. It's the joy. Like, you have to enjoy a bit of suffering because that's the job.
100%. And it remains this way, to be honest. It's not just at the beginning.
The problems get harder, by the way, as it goes on.
For example, during our events, people, usually brands, just see the end. You know, everything is finalized, the setup is done, but they don't actually see that me and Inji are working like 2, 3, 4 months before that, like literally suffering.
Yes.
So yeah, it's always the end, and that's what people are always going to see.
And that's what you want to deliver. You want it to make it seem easy and happy, and you have a smile on your face. As a woman as well, you need to look the part at the end. But there's so much that goes behind the scenes, for sure. Part of the challenges.
Absolutely. And, you know, in a market that's saturated, it's just how good are you at cutting through the noise? So adapting with your customer, how do you keep evolving with her? How do you keep ahead? And like you said, eye on the prize.
Yes. Actually, on the point of the customer, because that kind of leads to the second point we wanted to discuss, is you are not from here, from Australia. How did you resonate with an Arab customer? And I know your demographic really spans across different nationalities. Dubai is a melting pot anyways. But how did you speak to the Arab woman, and how do you see yourself evolving with her as well? Because honestly, the Middle East is seeing like unforeseen changes, whether here or Saudi, the rest of the GCC, the Levant, Middle East is a whole other culture. So how do you keep up with all that? How did you find that resonance with them?
So when it comes to our demographic, it's really broad and vast. But I think what we did was and I think what we do really well is we identify that the problem for a woman is not necessarily because of her nationality.
Yep.
So we come with a solution that caters to all women, and of course then is adapted through their stylists based on where they're from, but not even just where they're from, how they like to shop, how they like to be communicated with, their style. Just because you're Arabic and I'm Australian doesn't mean that I can't style you. It means that I understand what you like, I understand your data sets, I understand your style personality, and then I adapt to you. And that's kind of how the model was built.
Yeah.
So we have so many different nationalities, every nationality you can think of, every age you can think of. It's really quite amazing. And the model has been able to adapt with the customer and not expect the customer to adapt with us.
That's incredible. And kudos to you for doing so, honestly.
I have a question, because where that is such a new business, especially back then, 7 years ago, how were you able to convince customers to, get a personal stylist, do a try-on service, receive a box of all these curated outfits? How were you able to convince the customer to, purchase from where that, or to do the subscription model of you guys?
So we try not to convince them. When I started Wear That, I really valued retention, and I really valued organic growth. So we didn't spend any money on paid advertising for about 5 years at Wear That.
Wow.
Everything was organic. We grew into a multi-million-dollar business purely through word of mouth. It was only then we started scaling, we started to expand our performance marketing, and now you would see ads of ours on Instagram and so on. But we really try not to convince. We try to create an experience that when you get the box, you should be surprised, because why would a data survey know what you like? Why would it know your size? And why and how are we getting it right the first time? So we use lots of different techniques around intuitiveness with the stylist, data from the customer with the survey. We use predictive analytics, so we understand what customers are telling us, and then we infer what we think is the next natural step for them. And then through that, we try and create an experience. So by the time you get the box, you're just really pleasantly surprised, because all the work has been done in the background.
Right.
We don't try to convince. I want people to just be really happy with what they get.
So did you start with family and friends then?
Yes.
And then it was word of mouth?
Well,
did
I
it
don't
start
have
from
any
that?
family here because I'm an expat.
The chosen family as
I
an expat.
started with some girls from the gym, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I grew a small pool. But of course, I started with the expats, predominantly
Community.
Western expats to begin with. And then we started going into different nationalities. Then we started hiring Arabic-speaking stylists. Then we started hiring Russian-speaking stylists. And now we have 15 to, I think, 20 stylists.
Wow.
But they are all different nationalities, different languages.
Yeah.
But not only that, different style personas. And it goes beyond the demographic, more to what are the intrinsic motivators of the customer? How does she want to feel? What does she want to look like? And then we match more based on that rather than the other stuff.
That's incredible. And honestly, I think I'm going to start using Wear That, because the busier this gets, the more I just want someone to personalize everything for me.
And we have all new services coming, so
we're excited to see it.
That there's something exciting coming up. But
what is it? Oh yes, there is. I'm like, there's like 3 things.
But you didn't tell us.
Okay.
We love that Wear That has built something so convenient to its customers, to its clients, and also help build people's confidence as well. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people, for example, don't have time to, build on their outfits. They don't have the time to feel good about themselves. So we love that Wear That helps a lot with, building the confidence of a person. But also we wanted to ask, how do you balance tech innovation with something so personal and community focused?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And something I guess if I was to say one of the number one critics I've had over the years is your model isn't scalable. You can't scale what you're doing. And I'm very pleased to say that we have proved everyone wrong. But we've only been able to do that through tech and through data and using it in the right way. And our model is personal. And there's something that can never be taken away from a woman, which is the need and want for the human connection when it comes to style and validation and reassurance. And that's something you can't get from tech or you can't get from AI. Now, where tech and AI have helped our business a lot is through efficiencies. So we use it to help the stylists speed up their clients, speed up their styling, speed up their decision making, speed up the match to client to stylist. So we use we call it the perfect match algorithm, where we look at a customer and then we look at a stylist and we match them based on a certain bunch of data sets that connect them.
Wow.
And then they go on their journey together. But, we can't do that without tech. And then we can give that stylist maybe 10, 15 clients a day using that same algorithm. A human could maybe do it 3 times a day. So it's really there for efficiency, for growth, for scale, but not to ever take away the personalization or the human touch that we kind of really pride ourselves on.
I love it. I feel like you're a matchmaker, but instead of between
Yes,
two partners, you're like a
exactly.
stylist and the person. I agree, by the way, with the validation part. It's the same with skincare. When I go to a clinic, I swear I'll only buy whatever they're selling me if the doctor or the esthetician is being nice to me and they make me feel,
Yes.
like it's not the end of the world that I have a skin problem or a whatever problem. They're there to find a solution for you to make you feel the best.
Totally.
And I agree, like no matter what technology can do or AI can do, like it never takes away from that, the emotions you feel and the energy you get out of someone. So
Totally. And our AI and our tech, it's really interesting because what you just said about skincare, someone should feel that when they put on clothes. And
yes.
the AI can support a stylist to say, right, you're both wearing blue jeans and you're both wearing white tops. But what is the right white top and blue jean for you? And what is the right one for you? And it can help a stylist guide them.
Yeah.
But she still has to give it to the client. She still has to style it. It still has to look good. The client still has to feel good. That's not something that I can get from the systems.
Correct. Yeah, correct. Great. Now we're going to stop talking technicalities and we're going to step into you as a woman with all the other verticals that make you who you are. Verticals. This is how you know you're corporate.
Yeah.
But all other aspects of who you are. So obviously you are a mother as well. And I have a lot of my girls are mothers and I see how much their personality shifts in the workplace. And I swear not enough people talk about this. It's not just about the balancing act, which we want you to touch on as well, but it's how their personality changes almost entirely once they become mothers in the workplace. So becoming a mother, how is the balancing act? What do you do? And please be specific because some people in talks like this make it very generic. Okay. And then 2, it's how has your leadership style, because you're kind of the mom of your team, how has it shifted when you became a biological mom? If in any way.
Yeah, so to answer the first question, I really think when you're doing something big and very impactful, and what I am setting out to do is not small, and my mission is really, really huge, and it's going to take enormous sacrifice. So I have really factored that, and I factored being a mother as my 2 priorities in life. And I've sacrificed everything else. And I think no one talks about that because I can't do what I do to the scale I'm doing, to the impact I'm doing, and then go and have a fabulous social life and then go and exercise every weekend and have yoga. That doesn't exist.
So true.
I just work and I raise my daughter. Yeah. And there is nothing else in this part of my life that I do, and I don't prioritize anything else. And because the mission is the priority. What I'm trying to build is the priority. And I'm very okay with that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I have a green juice. No, I wake up at 4:30. I start my coffee. I start working before my daughter wakes up. I get her up. I get her ready. I go to work. And then I repeat it. And that is my life. And it's not glamorous and it's not sexy, but that's what it is. And the results of the business, I think, could validate that the sacrifice is working.
100%.
So it's not a very, I don't know if you want to put it, but it's not a very glamorous answer.
No, 100%. And it's good to be this real because every blessing comes with an opportunity cost. And I think people look so much at the blessing. And this is where our culture now of comparison, particularly through social media. Like if I didn't have this interview with you now and we weren't talking, I would look at you on social. She's young, she's beautiful, she's managing this, and she's a mom, and she's getting, and even though I'm not a mom, I might think, how does she do it all? So I can't imagine for a mom that's similar to your age, looking at, and how does she manage
how you said that I'm young. I'm not that young.
You get what I mean?
You look very young.
Mashallah, yes.
I'm going to take it. Keep
Yes.
that in. No.
But
Joking.
genuinely, it's because that comparison comes from the fact that people don't see the struggle and they
Yes.
don't see the hardships, specifically women. I'm speaking because we are women, that we go through. And you're saying it now like, yes, I'm doing a sacrifice, but I'm sure some days you're sat at home and you're like, I miss some of the things I've sacrificed.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
there's a bigger priority there.
Totally.
So it's so real.
I said to my husband, I guess it was last week, I was like, do you think we'll ever go out again? Like, are we
Date
going to go?
night?
But, you know, I've also made my life a little bit harder for myself in that I don't have a nanny. And I chose not to have a nanny because I felt like if I had a nanny, I would deprioritize my daughter and I would put that extra effort into work.
Correct.
And I feel very okay with my life that the work is almost balanced with the time that I have for my child, and that the sacrifice is on me and my life, not on anyone else's. And I feel good. I can sleep at night going, the effort and energy of my business is equal with my daughter, and
That's
that there's no one else raising her
That's incredible.
while I'm doing this.
How old is she now?
She's 2.5.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, she's cute. She's like crazy. She's like crazy. I had no
They
idea
all
she's
are that
no.
age.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I was like, because obviously, and before this, I was never around children, and I'm like, is this what they're like? My goodness, I was like, wild.
You're like, maybe I don't want another one.
Oh, they're like crazy.
Yeah,
And
they're
like,
sassy monsters.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she like, yeah. I'm like, oh my God. Okay. It's like I've met my match.
Yeah,
Literally.
Um,
Sorry, go ahead.
Do you feel like this has affected your mental health in any way? You know, sacrificing a lot from yourself?
I don't think so because I'm somewhat extreme in my personality. Before where that I used to run ultra marathons for fun. So I'm kind of like this way a bit.
Yeah.
So I don't just do small things. So like I run an ultra marathon through mountains of just like 65 kilometers before I ran a marathon. So I was like, oh, let me just go for
big
the
or
hardest.
go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I approach a lot of things in life. So while it's tough, it's okay. Like I'm like, it's like, you know, I just kind of go with it. I'm not that deep, I would say.
You're mentally wired.
Yeah.
To
I
take that
feel like me and you are very similar in that way, where we do sacrifice a lot of ourselves, whether it's just friendships, relationships, family, or whatever. Just because, again, eyes on the prize, we have a bigger picture, a bigger goal, and we're the type, both Angie and myself, and I guess you're the same. We won't stop until we get it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Totally.
You go after it.
Yeah.
But I have to say, I'm not as resilient as you. I definitely have moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, like I haven't seen, I don't know, my family, because they also don't live here. They live in Egypt. I haven't seen them in a while. I will take a weekend, even though traveling really kills my body, but I will take a weekend and I will be with them for 3 to 4 days. And then I'll come back all refreshed. You know, I ate mom's food. I breathed a bit. I sat in our backyard. I'm happy. Now I can go back. Without that, I feel like I get like burnout, which all of us feel like from time to time.
You know, I look at my life as a ultra marathon in a way. Like this always keeps coming back
Feels
somehow.
like it, yeah.
But I know that it's not forever. I know that what we're doing is, you know, there's probably another couple of really hard years, I would say, until the business is at where I feel very happy.
Yeah.
And that's not that long in life. Like it's correct. It's only 2 years. It's 24 months. And you know, if you're in a business, it goes in 1 second.
100%.
Like we were talking about something before. Someone said, "Oh, something about a customer 3 years ago." I was like, I don't even remember what happened 3 years ago. What was the business like 3 years ago?
So true.
So
yeah,
we don't even remember.
Yes.
So I'm like, what's a couple of years?
It's just a chapter.
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
a chapter. Okay. So honestly, we can talk to you for like another hour, but somehow already the episode has come to an end. And we usually like to end any episode, particularly with any guest speaker, to give some words of wisdom and advice to our listeners. And just to give you an idea, our listeners are majorly women.
From what I hear from entrepreneurs or people wanting to start a business, there's so much fear. There is so much like they're scared of. And there's really nothing to be scared of. The scariest part is just doing it. And I always say to everyone, just like stop talking and start acting. And it's really direct. But the more you talk, the more you can kind of start thinking about all the scenarios and all the things that probably won't happen. And you just have to do it and put it out there and see. And, you know, take the hit if the hit comes, but at least you died trying.
100%. Thank you so much for trusting us with your brand, and we're looking forward to it.
Thank you for inviting us and having us.
Thank you so much.